Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Joseph Clough, and this is episode 797. And today we're talking about how we can begin to live an abundant life. You see, I think we should have the ability to do so. And I'm not just talking about money. I'm not just talking about the materialistic things, although that could be definitely a part of it. Like, I'm not too concerned about what things are. They can add value, but usually it's about our self-value, which can then utilize it, like higher self-esteem. But anyway, it's talking about being an abundant person in general, because we can be abundant in our finances, but we can also be abundant in our health. We can be abundant in our relationships, our career, our business. There are so many different levels to what abundance is. But we just tend to get tired that it's about financial abundance. Because usually if you get the other stuff, the financial abundance can even come your way. It can actually show up because you have an abundance of self-esteem. You have an abundance of self-certainty in who you are and where you're heading. So one of the things that I like to think about living an abundant life is introducing more aspects into your life, in who you are. So let's just talk about one of the first ones. If you want to live an abundant life, you've got to add more into doing what you want. Now, I don't want to get like, oh yeah, do what you want for a living and all those things, and you'll never work again, which can be true, but it doesn't always have to be that way. Sometimes you're making a living, it gives you the freedom to do what you want. It doesn't mean we've got to have this big, meaningful purpose in our career. Sometimes that can fuel what we do outside of our career to find more meaning and value, whether it be spending time with friends, family, vacations, hobbies. It could be anything. Cooking, anything. So I do like the idea though that we should be introducing more things of doing what you want, because most of the time the way that we have created time, our meaning, our perception of time is very, very scheduled. Monday to Friday I may go to work. Weekend I do this, 9 a.m. I go here, 5 p.m. I finish work. We start to operate from a needs of a necessity, like I need to do this, I have to do this. I'm a father, a mother, we have all these different roles, and therefore we have self-imposed needs. Not to say that those needs are bad, because yeah, we want to be a good father, we want to be a good mother, or a good employee or boss or whatever it is. But if we come from a place of only need, which I think a lot of people tend to live by, even like I need to be more confident, I need to have this amount of money, it creates a level of scarcity, a sense of lack, because we don't really have it, or we have to do it. So it's not the healthiest way of living. So when we go, well, I get to do this today, or I'm going to start doing this because this is what I want, you're starting to prioritize your esteem, your values, the things which are important to you, which we rarely do. Most of the time, we're people pleasers, especially if those people who mainly listen to this episode or other episodes. I work with esteem, the imposter syndrome, not feeling good enough, not being worthy, not being deserving, not being capable, not feeling loved, not feeling of importance, all of those things. So if we are in that trap in our mind of not feeling good enough, or just a low self-esteem, we tend to do things that we need to do or we expect of ourselves for other people. And that's where the people pleasing comes in. So as a conscious wake-up call, I want you to maybe consider, if you don't have anything yet, that's fine, because it can happen. It can take time, because we've been so programmed to be a people pleaser or to not feel worthy. But if we're going to change the relationship with ourselves and our identity, we want to be able to introduce the things that we desire and allow our mind to do what we want. And that means we can enforce certain boundaries at times. Because when you enforce boundaries, some people might not like that. Because if you've been a people pleaser for a long time, or you've had a low self-esteem and therefore maybe bad relationships with narcissists or people taking advantage of you, all of those things, you may get some resistance from the people who have been taking that energy from you. And I'm talking about the the not so good people in this case. I'm not talking about the good people. They'll understand if you start to put up some boundaries. But when you start to put up those boundaries by understanding and doing what you want, you're actually enforcing your own esteem that bit more. So wherever it is to do something that you want in your career, in your business, like making your passion, your hobby as a business is absolutely possible. You want to be able to do that as much as you can by doing what you want, doing the things that you enjoy. But if it's not, in the times that we are working, I think we should really putting our attention to the things that we really desire to do. Otherwise, we're negating our own feelings, and therefore we're putting ourselves down in value in comparison to other people or other things. So make a decision today to start doing what you want in a healthy way, in an ecological way. So good for self, good for others, and good for the world. Therefore, you cannot go wrong, right? If it's good for self, good for others, and good for the world, you're being congruent with growth in this ecosystem of reality. So consider, what is it that you want to do? What have you been neglecting when it comes to your human needs, your desires, the things that you would like to be doing? Once again, when you start to implement it, you're going to start to recognize at an unconscious level, your self-value goes up. And I don't mind if it's just like doing it 10 minutes every single day for a little bit, because that can grow. But if you start to raise your value by doing what you want, you will start to see that esteem rise up. And maybe that will let go of the imposter syndrome. Maybe that will let go of the fear, the worries, and the doubts. But you got to make room for it. You got to get out the need, and I've got to, because of these other people's expectations. At the end of the day, life is long, but also it's running out every single moment. So are we going to choose to just live on other people's stories and demands and all those kind of things? Like I said, we're not being mean here. This is about self-healing. This is about self-preservation. This is about understanding your own human needs. Because life is precious, as are you. And sometimes when we need to change, have to change, when it comes to raising up our identity of who we are in this world and start implementing the do what you want, maybe it gives other people the opportunity to do things for themselves. As a weird little reframe, when we're a people pleaser, we are actually taking away someone's ability to do something for themselves. Whether they want to do it, whether they're being manipulative or not, you're taking away their responsibility. You're taking away maybe a big aspect of them changing or learning something. So just consider that. It might just reframe you to think, actually, what am I denying them of their experience when I've got to do everything that they want to do? Maybe it'll be their wake-up call, and therefore they'll see you as an example of changing too. So number one, I want us to get into that. Do what you want. Now, the other thing when it comes to living an abundant life, I do honestly believe you should be rewarded magnificently. Now, this could be magnificently with money. I don't mind. But it could be just that inner reward of magnificently knowing who you are. Having so much pleasure and joy. Like, we're almost at episode 800. Now, I have loved every moment of creating the 797 episodes. Has it taken time? Yes. The prep, before, during, after, all those edits, all those kind of things. Not that I do much to editing, but all like the doing stuff of just the free work. But I've enjoyed it. I'm being rewarded magnificently by doing what I love the most. Or when people say they've just got some help from one of my audios, it makes my day. It makes me want to do more. So whether it be financially rewarded, which is no problem, I mean, why not? Think about it. When you have abundance in money, you have an abundance to help people without money. So when you have abundance with money, you have the ability to help people who don't have the abundance of money. Wherever it be giving to your family, your friends, community, charities. Maybe you can create solutions. Maybe it's about legacy, like passing things down. There's nothing wrong with money. I just think money expands who you are. Now, if you're listening to this track, this free episode, this podcast, this live stream, it's been all broadcasted live on youtube.com/Joseph Clough. If you think about all those types of things of what I get from doing this, when I start to think, how can I be rewarded by the things that I do on a deeper level? Wherever it be money, all of these things, it just fills me up. So ask yourself, if you're doing what you love, is there a level of being how you could be rewarded magnificently? Is it not doing what you love, so it can be separate? Well, how can you find more meaning in maybe helping people? How can you get rewards out of life that serve you at a deeper level? And it could be anything. It could be in a business. It could be as a change maker. We're just running an NLP practitioner and a hypnosis practitioner. And I love that because the ripples go far and wide. I can help people, educate them, certify them, therefore they're working with lots of people. So those ripple effects go beyond what I'm doing. But it's so, so awesome to be a part of it. So what can you do to be rewarded more magnificently, financially, or just on a deeper level? Think about that, because I think that is one of the ideas of living an abundant life, being rewarded magnificently. Now, the third thing to me is getting into a state of gratitude. And I've said this before, but I see gratitude as a gateway, as a step-by-step system of experiencing a deep level of gratitude. Now, the first one is the typical one we always hear, being grateful for what you have. Keyword, what. What we have in our life, right here, right now. There are many people in the world who don't have what you have. They may have bigger problems than what you have. But there's so many people in this world at different circumstances, different situations, different paths, different conclusions, different mindsets, different things. But I think there's always something that we can be grateful for in the what we have. Now, I would hope to think maybe you're still listening after all, that you can be grateful for being able to have some audio to have. And that's just not my podcast. It could be other people's podcasts. There's so much free content out there, YouTube videos. That's something to be grateful for, right? Can you remember when there was no YouTube or podcasts? Like, there's so much more free education. So that could be a level of gratitude, but it could be the things that you're wearing. It could be that you have a roof over your head. It could be that you have the ability to have something to eat, or maybe family, friends, maybe a wonderful pet who just looks at you and adores you and loves you unconditionally. There's so much more to be gratitude for what we have. It's the easiest thing to change our emotional state from scarcity to gratitude. But the next level is the gratitude for who you are. So that's the who. The other one was the what you have. The next level is who you are. That can be very tricky. But if you really think about it, if you wrote down on a piece of paper all the things that you've achieved in your life, all the logical stuff, or looking through the eyes of maybe your best friend or maybe your pet who loves you unconditionally, how do they see you? What attributes would they see that you may not even see in yourself? That is something to be grateful for, because they mean it, they feel it. They might even love it. They might even love you. So even if you don't believe it straight away, when you start to train yourself to have the gratitude for who you are, that's going to really level up how to live an abundant life, because you're grateful for your existence. You're grateful for your essence. And then the third part, so that we've done the what, we've done the who, for who we are. The next one I see is for what is coming our way. And that's why it's like a gateway. That's why it's like, what is easy? Who is a bit trickier. But once we get those, we can be more grateful for what is heading our way. That to me is a real level of gratitude. When you wake up every day and you go, I'm so grateful for what is good is coming my way, in known and unknown ways, in seen ways and unseen ways. I'm just excited to notice what's going to happen for me today. How's the world? It comes from the book Paulo Coelho. I'm not very good at names. It's even the book The Pilgrimage or the other one with Santiago. But it's ultimately the world is conspiring in your favor. Imagine if that was your mentality, that everything in your world is conspiring in your favor. Not in other people's or against you, but it's actually conspiring in your favor. Now, to me, that is a gratitude for what is heading your way. Because you know the universe or God or your unconscious mind, your higher conscious, whatever truth that we have or whatever belief that we have. And that's right, thank you for the chat. It is in the book, The Alchemist. So as you know, this is being broadcasted live on youtube.com/Joseph Clough. It's the beauty of having the chat right here. So conspiring in your favor, when you're in that place, you're open, you're ready to receive. You're ready to receive what you desire. Whatever you desire even, desires you too. If that's your gratitude, that attitude of gratitude for what you have, who you are, and what is coming your way that you're even unaware of, even the things that you want, you can go, I want this or something better. It's going to allow you to feel more abundant. Because if you have those 3 levels, you don't feel scarcity. You don't feel that lack, even without the things. So we've discussed today, we've got to add more to doing what you want, getting beyond the needs of necessity, expectations of other people, or what we impose upon ourselves, being rewarded magnificently, whether it be financially so we can serve more people in this world. We can reinvest into our development as being a greater father, mother, son, daughter, community, person in your community. We can do so much with abundance of money, but also just the abundance on the inside. And then we just said about the attitude of gratitude for what we have, who we are, and what is heading our way. And if we kind of combine some of those, being rewarded magnificently, the attitude of gratitude, well, the next effortless next step would be to pay it forward. Now, what does that mean? Pay it forward. Well, it's really doing good for others without an expectation in return. It's very selfish, I think, in fact. Now, you might be thinking, why is doing good for others without expectation in return good? Or how is it selfish, Joseph? Well, because you feel so good doing it. That makes you feel abundant when you serve people without expectation of anything in return. So ask yourself, how can you pay it forward? How can you do something for someone you may know or you may not know? They may not even know that you did it, but you are able to support someone, and it could be anything. Do you know, sometimes, and I talked a while back, like when I get an email when they've stumbled upon my app or podcast in the middle of the night when they were having some very bad thoughts, but they listened to that, that makes my day, and that makes me want to do more free work. Like, I'm going to far surpass, if I'm living long enough for it, far surpass even, over 800 episodes. 900, 1,000. Like, I don't see myself stopping unless something happens to me, right? I want to keep on doing that because that fills me up. That's a bit of my pay it forward. Of course, we can do many other kind of things. But sometimes just a smile to a stranger, a hello, can make that so-called strangers connected. Maybe they haven't been seen for a long time. Maybe they've been under a ton of stress, and then when you go ahead and just smile and say, hey, how you doing? That could, not for everyone, but that could mean the world to that person. So no matter how big or small, I really think we should pay it forward. Because you're doing what you want, you are being rewarded, you are the attitude of gratitude, and paying it forward without expectation in return. It could be, you see those videos, I'm not all that keen on those viral videos of giving to to things, because I don't think you need to just record it. It feels like there's a little bit of a secondary gain. I'm getting popularity or being notorious, whatever the word I'm looking for there, via viral means of helping. So I think there's a little bit of a lack of congruency there. But let's just say you didn't film it and you were able to like pay for someone's Starbucks when a drive-through or the cashier or whatever place you're at and say, I'm going to take their next order payment. Like something small, but that could mean a lot. At the least, let's just think about it. Let's just break it down for a moment. Let's say they're having a hard day or they're not having a hard day, but you do that act of service of paying it forward. What does that do to that person? Well, they want to in turn pay it forward. So now the ripple effects go further than you can imagine. You didn't just help that one person, they in turn change their psychological, emotional state, their physiological state, by receiving that thing from you that caused them to show up differently, maybe to their child, differently to that customer, differently to their loved one, differently to another stranger. So we can really expand the transformation by just small, subtle acts of kindness, by just paying it forward. And to me, that feels good. Like I said, I think it's very selfish because you feel so good doing it, right? So I'm only joking there really, but yeah, paying it forward. And the last thing, which almost summarizes a lot of this, is contribution. What are we contributing to the world? One of the quotes I've always liked is leaving the world a better place that you found it. Now, if we all did that, just think how we level up as a humanity, as being on this spinning ball, all those kind of things, how we just transform everything as we contribute. And it could be through money, because you're abundant, by applying these kind of steps and ideas and philosophies. But it could be contribution through time, for your heart, for your love, for doing something for a stranger. I think when you start to contribute to the world, I think the world contributes back. The law that allows us to receive what we put out there. So I really think if I want to live an abundant life, I want to start doing more of what I want, whether it be as a profession or whether it be in allowing my profession to fuel that. The thing that I like or love, like a hobby, to get rid of those expectations of what society thinks, to start to be rewarded magnificently, because that's your self-value. You value yourself enough to bring that esteem up, to have the attitude of gratitude for what you have, for who you are, and what is heading your way, and to pay it forward from the smallest acts of kindness to big acts of kindness. And then just to really contribute. How can we contribute? No matter how big or small, how can we contribute to leave the world in a better place than we found it? I think that is a bit of a meaningful life. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you got value from it, maybe you'll pay it forward by leaving a review on the App Store. Just go to josephclough.info/review, and therefore I'll just give you the instructions and the direct links to how to write a review. And that could be a small little pay it forward if you have enjoyed this, because that means someone may look at your review and therefore change, and those ripple effects go far and wide if you be so kind. You don't have to. There's lots of things you can do to contribute beyond me asking for a review there. I mean, it's just one of those things. If you'd like to, I'd so be full of gratitude for you in every single way. And with that, my friends, I look forward to speaking to you on a future episode. Of course, if you ever want to apply to work with me, you can go to josephclough.info/talk, and that's where we get to work together on a one-to-one level. So that's josephclough.info/talk. You go ahead and book a time, you attend a one-to-one call with us, and we'll get clear on where you are, where you want to be, what's getting in the way, and we might invite you into our program. There is of course an investment. It's fully customized to your unconscious needs. It's tailored to your future in who you want to become. So with that, my friends, I look forward to speaking to you on a future episode. Shine on, do what you want, be rewarded magnificently, have the attitude of gratitude, pay it forward, and contribute. After all, why not?